ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you. March is a month of good luck. From epic runs in state basketball to watching Cinderella spring the upset in college basketball. And of course, St. Patrick's Day. Luck is on your side at Mullen Motors too, because their lot is full of great vehicles to take home. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Your luck starts this month at Mullen Motors.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Mostly cloudy skies through much of the day, but could see some sunshine by late this afternoon. Much cooler with a high of around 50. Winds out of the south at around 10. Partly cloudy tonight with a low down to around 37. Will be slightly warmer as we head into our Wednesday. A chance of evening showers, a high of around 54. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Hold up.
Yeah, Strick and Austin.
What?
Dynamic duo back together after 12 days.
Well, that just the ring of that just sounds good, but it's finally I don't have to replace it with Rico or Nick or somebody else, or even myself as of yesterday. It was just one of those things, man. The medications had me woo. So I was going to try to tap in, but, the powers that be just said, you know what, Stricky, lay down, get some rest, come on in. I feel refreshed, feel good. The meds aren't too crazy on me today, Austin, but, man, how are you?
Man, Strick, I'm good. I'm glad to be back. Got to shout out Rico for filling in last week. Shout out Nick for filling in yesterday. But it's good to be back. Good to have the crew back together. That's what I think.
Well, real quick, I just want to tap in for Mr. Unlimited on the Sauter Heyman text line. As always, the Sauter Heyman text line is available to each and every one of you at 402-464-5685. Before we do that, let's talk about Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Oh, my goodness. It's definitely one of those things, especially with March Madness going on, to be able to go in there, get you a nice little catered meal, take it back to the house, just have it heated up and just go in and then fall asleep after you watch your favorite games. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. You can find them, as always, at 27th and Pine Lake. Let Charles and the crew know that us, Austin and I on the block, sent you. So, man, listen. I want to talk about that real quick with Mr. Unlimited. Mr. Unlimited on the Sauter Heyman text line said, I heard we passed on Keontae Johnson because of something in his health exam, or did he just choose K-State over Nebraska? Now, there was something that he was dealing with, some ailments. I think at the end of the day, he made the choice to go over there, and it could have been as simple as the competition at that position was probably a little bit more open. Derek Walker returning, there were some things there that could have probably made it a little bit easier for him to make that move. But listen, the young man made the right choice. At this point, he's balling, they're balling. He's got great guards with Noel and I can't remember the other young man's name, but my goodness, he's got great guard play. They work well together. They set up each other. They're solid. They defend well. But as we'll dig into this other stuff, I really do want to talk about Princeton and at some point in time during this. But, hey, what a phenomenal NCAA tournament it has been up to this point.
Let's start there. Start with Princeton. What are you seeing?
So here's the thing I see with Princeton, and this is why I look at Nebraska and I say to myself, you don't need tradition. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. We're talking about the bigs, right? So this is going to continue in this conversation. We're going to talk about some of the bigs, where they at, some of those big men, the Hunter Dickinsons, the Trace Jackson Davises, Edie, so forth and so on. We're going to get into that. But I want to talk about this aspect of Princeton. Princeton is a team that's built, one, on leadership, well coached. They are fundamentally sound from top to bottom. I'm talking about when you see shots go up, there's bodies. When you see shots go up offensively, they're not standing behind people. It's multiple effort situations. In the games that they won by way of hustle and beating you to the ball. Getting those extra possessions, taking advantage, putting hands on. When you're kind of lethargic and looking around, they're moving and setting solid screens, moving the ball with precision, taking their time. They're not in a hurry. If it's an opportunity that presents itself in a secondary or in an initial break, they go with it. If not, they are disciplined to know when it's no, this ain't the one. Let's come on out here. And they're going to work that clock, and they're going to work it to where they end up with a good shot. It's very rare that they take a bad one, from what I saw.
To me, Strick, a lot of what Princeton does, in a different way, has a lot of the principles about what a good shot is, how to play together, as what Wisconsin does. You know, methodical. They don't beat themselves.
Right.
Eliminate a lot of the bad plays. And Princeton isn't going to ever consistently have elite level talent.
Facts.
But what Bo Ryan did with Wisconsin, when he had that, upper level talent, better than usual for Wisconsin talent, was get to a Final Four, get to a national championship game. What we're seeing is that talent matters because that's how Arizona gets a 2 seed, but coaching and continuity and fundamentals matter too.
Facts.
Mental toughness, mental consistency matter too. Because, Strick, that's what I've seen from Arizona the last 2 years is a bunch of front runners.
Yeah.
They get punched in the mouth. They don't know how to respond. They're talented, not always tough. Princeton looks tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
They controlled that game, played it at their tempo against
beginning.
Arizona.
Yeah.
And then did the same thing round 2 against Missouri.
Yeah.
They didn't get out in front of themselves. They didn't, say,
The pressure
No.
didn't bother them at all. I was like, this is nothing.
Not the slightest.
Yeah, not in the slightest. So you're absolutely right. And I can appreciate this Princeton team. I think they're a little bit more fun to watch than the old Princetons, the ones that were just the backdoor kings. I think it's a little bit more fun of a basketball, the way that they play.
Again, and that's, I think, a credit to Mitch Henderson, their head coach, who is a Princeton guy, of knowing what Princeton is, what got Princeton to where it was, when it won its previous tournament game, but not being beholden to it, not sticking to that too long when college basketball has moved on. There's a time and a place for the old school Princeton offense. You can do it a possession or two at a time for a different look. Not a way to be successful consistently long term. So credit Mitch Henderson for being an alum with the ties to the past, but not necessarily serving the past, being beholden to it when it clearly wouldn't work.
Yeah, so I think there is some importance to that. I think it's some importance to that, especially if you're building a culture and you're building a team that doesn't necessarily have a defined culture. And having that understanding of who you are, who you need to be, and how you need to play, and where success lay, having those voices, that type of leadership in the room, I think it goes longer than what people would think. It's not always the flash and dash. It's not always that. It's sometimes it goes a little bit deeper. And when I look at some of these organizations, you got the glitz, you got the glamour, you got probably all the NIL. Look at Kentucky. They got all that you could ask for. But at the end of the day, they're still not winning when it matters. And so I can appreciate the likes of Princeton. But let's talk about the Big East. The Big East is handling business. I thought probably first of all, I knew that the Big Ten was not going to send anybody but maybe one. Now, I will say that Michigan State is a surprise for me. I thought maybe, with the bracket, with the setup, I thought maybe Indiana would be the one. I didn't have any faith in Purdue. I don't have any faith in Painter whatsoever when it comes down to it. they got outplayed, they got outworked, they got out-scrapped, they got out-hustled, and it's just so disappointing that in any capacity, Edey showed no dominance of any part in that game. And so it was very disappointing. But shout out to Izzo. Izzo knows how to get his guys ready when it matters.
It's surprising that Michigan State is the one, but also it's not surprising.
Right,
I mean, Tom Izzo has the most wins ever in the NCAA tournament as the lower seed in a matchup. Those quick turnarounds, they're obviously scouting ahead of time, so they know.
Yeah.
They're an older team, right? I mean, I know Michigan State has attracted some one-and-done talent, but really what Michigan State does is keep guys in that system for 2-3 years. They play hard, they play smart. You add an experienced and talented coach in Izzo on top of that. Oh, and they shoot the lights out.
Right.
They were the best three-point shooting team in the Big Ten, top 10 percentile nationally. That's a good team. That's always a tough out, and they proved it again this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one other thing I want to talk about because I found it interesting as well, is that those play-in games, like the 11 seeds of those play-in games did very well. And to me, I wanted to throw that question out to you also to the Sutter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. Is that play-in game a detriment to those from which those teams are coming into? Because they're coming into it with a rhythm. They're coming into it, already being kind of involved in a game. It's that turnaround time frame that they're used to in the college week. You have all that to it. But then on top of that, the team that sits waiting on them, that 6 seed, has to kind of prepare for two teams.
For both.
You can't get so in all actuality, coming out of that, they're getting started knowing who they're going to be preparing for.
Right.
So if we win, we know when we're coming into. So you can already start the cycle going.
Yep, we got to step aside here for the emergency alert. We'll continue the conversation after this.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it is Truck Month at Koppel, and we are pulling out all of the stops for this gigantic event. The lots are starting to fill, and we have some great deals for you waiting in Louisville. Brand new GMC Sierra Light Duty and new Silverado Light Duty trucks. All trim levels have up to $4,000 in discounts. That's right, up to $4,000 off all new light duty trucks right now at Koppel, so do not wait. Now is the time to buy a new truck, so stop on in or visit us online at koppelcars.com. You must have a trade-in and finance with Koppel. All deals with approved credit.
A lot of businesses say that they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business feels anything but for your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, as they do with customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740. March is a month of good luck. From epic runs in state basketball to watching Cinderella spring the upset in college basketball. And of course, St. Patrick's Day. Luck is on your side at Mullen Motors too, because their lot is full of great vehicles to take home. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Your luck starts this month at Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
This is Jay Foreman. When I played football for Nebraska and in the NFL, I wore protective gear to safeguard my health. Today, I'm not only protecting my health, but everyone in our community by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Update your protection with the bivalent COVID vaccine while it's still free. Find out more at healthylincoln.org. That's healthylincoln.org.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Hey guys, this is Lindsay Teal from Nebraska Golf Team. Imagine golfing the best courses in the world. St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Southern Hills, the best of the best. You can play those courses and more without ever leaving the city of Lincoln at Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle has the city's best golf simulators, 5 high-quality bays that track ball speed, launch angle, club speed, spin rate, and more to give you the most accurate gameplay. Check it out for yourself year-round. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate. Chances are, you've tried fruitcake before. Chances are, it looked pretty weird. Lots of colors that don't really exist in nature. Chances are, it tasted weird. Chances are, you need to try fruitcake again. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. None of that weird stuff you didn't like, just real fruit, premium nuts, and the delicious flavor combination of brandy, bourbon, and rum to meld all that together. See for yourself. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. I agree. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I grew up in Nebraska, attended our local public schools, and became a teacher. It wasn't easy, but it's the best investment I've ever made. Teachers are encouraging every student to invest their time in learning. Please join us in that effort. Support public education.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Keeping the March Madness conversation going here on The Block. Austin Orman, Eric Strickland with you. Strick, you mentioned Pitt winning that play-in game, surviving that play-in game.
Mm-hmm.
Still don't know how they won that.
Yeah.
Mississippi State had the most open shot you can get from an ATO and just missed it. But Pitt survives. Put the absolute clamps on Iowa State then. 41 points is all the Panthers allow. There's something about that first four that it seems like a detriment. Oh, you got to play one more game to earn your way into the tournament. But to your point, the teams that are in that game, at least the 11 seeds, haven't won their conference.
Right.
So they've had an extra couple days off. So to me, that gives them the second advantage of getting another game in before anyone else does. You get the rest, and you knock off the rust.
Exactly.
To me, it's the best of both worlds for a lot of those teams.
Actually, exactly. You have all of this delay. You have all of this time. Sometimes time builds tension, right? The more you're pondering, thinking, considering, getting ready to get on the road, where you're going to stay, the excitement, all of that, getting out on the floor, you're getting a shoot around, you're seeing it for the first time. you're not dealing with that intensity that comes. Like, listen, conference championships are phenomenal. They're great. But when you're talking about the NCAA tournament, it's like a whole nother level that you got to go to. And it's like having that game prior to that. So you've already experienced the travel. You already know what to expect. You already kind of feel it. You know, you're on TV first. Everybody's watching you. Where are you going to land? You know what I'm saying? You know, all of those things you're getting out the way. So now no one believes in you. No one thinks you. Probably half the people don't pick you. So you're just going in there with a me against the world type of mentality, and you just go out and just play your freaking heart out and then see what happens from there. And they've had some success.
Absolutely. So to that point, the two 6-11 games that didn't feature a play-in, Kentucky and Providence. Kentucky was the 6th seed. Hard-fought game, but they win it by 8 over Providence. The other 6-11 game without a play-in was Creighton-NC State. 9-point win for Creighton.
Yeah.
The two games that featured a play-in, again, we mentioned Pitt, who beat Mississippi State. Then they go on to just demolish Iowa State, 59-41. And then they push Xavier in the second round.
Yeah.
Works out for them. The other 6-11 game there, TCU, Arizona State. Arizona State wins the play-in. They beat Nevada. Come out on fire, 98-73. Then they push TCU, a solid and experienced, a veteran TCU team. And to your point, it's not unfair necessarily for the 6th seed because they get a higher seed. They're facing a team that you're, more than likely more talented than you proved it throughout the regular season. But
Arizona State should have won that game, actually. They were up.
They had them. Had it. But for that 6th seed, those 6 seeds that play the 11s, you get an earlier dose of that 2-day prep because those games take place on Tuesday. You're playing Thursday.
Yeah.
So usually you have your first 2-day prep after that first round. You have an additional one.
Yeah.
With the travel on top of it. That is tough. That is a tough position.
It is tough. It is. But that's the thing is like you said, there's no rust. There's not as much time. And you're just going in and just letting it fly. Right? You can tell that the Arizona State team got tight towards the end of that game because they literally had that game and I thought they should have had that game in the bag. Matter of fact, I turned it off and I thought it was over and look up and like, really? Okay, well, cool, no problem. I actually had a Arizona State winning that game, so I was even more disappointing for me. But yeah, some of the stuff that when I look at these brackets, really impressed with Tennessee. Didn't know what Tennessee team would show up. Really impressed with them.
Tennessee's playing basketball,
not
basketball. I mean? They're boxing.
You know what I mean? There is. It's very physical. I love the way that they're getting it done. The most watched game, which I was surprised at just how well Michigan State played, was Marquette. 10 million viewers on that game. That's more than what even some playoff games are getting these days. That's tremendous. Now, the one that I told you before you left to keep an eye on was Arkansas. Watch out for Arkansas. And I didn't know what it was. I mean, again, I think I've shared the Musselman story with you. But I like Musselman. One, he had great NBA experience. He was coaching out there with Golden State. He lands this job. They were very disappointed at their showing in the SEC tournament. And then in that disappointed, kind of got some backlash from it. But, I think I told you the Musselman story when, he basically said I couldn't play. And I said, you know what, bro, every time I see you, I'm trying to give you some work. So I was rooting for him, this time. I mean, we've ironed that situation out. And I'm glad to see them play it the way they did. And they looked very good. I got them going to the Final Four. No, I got them going to the Elite Eight, but losing to UCLA. And I'm still kind of wary of UCLA, but right now they're playing pretty good.
They're playing well despite 2 injuries. Arkansas has at least as much talent as Kansas. If you look at their recruiting rankings, I mean, they bring in their best class in school history this year. They play a style that it leads to some variance, but again, they're tough. Despite the youth, I mean, Musselman was there. They had a pretty good run last year before they lose to Duke. Denied the trip to the Final Four there. Arkansas is solid. I want to touch on Michigan State again to bring this whole discussion around. They're the one Big Ten team in the Sweet 16. And Strick, I don't think that's an accident. I really don't.
Yeah.
Because when you mention Michigan State, when we talked about Michigan State throughout the season, we know Tom Izzo. Who are the first two players that come to mind?
For
Michigan State.
Tyus Walker, definitely Hogard.
There you go. We can stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
What position do those two guys play?
Both guard positions.
They're guards.
Yeah.
Think about
and you know what's crazy about it? Real quick, and that guard position, it's very. It reminds me very much of Eric Snow and Sean Respert when we played them, because Eric Snow, kind of a bigger, stronger type of guard, and yes, Respert was 6'3" 4, but he didn't play like that, so I kind of see the kind of, Hogard just kind of like Eric Snow, just run the show, fast break, push, finish, lead, get buckets when he needs to. And they got that same type of flow going with them right now.
Michigan State led by guards.
Yes, led by guards, for sure.
Who wasn't led by guards? Indiana plays through their post. Trace Jackson Davis. Fantastic player, All-American caliber player. Got run in circles around by Miami's guards. Jalen Hood-Schifino, good player, young, only one of him. Zach Edey, post guy, got taken out of that Fairleigh Dickinson game because his freshman guards...
8 turnovers.
Yes, 8 turnovers, couldn't get him the ball, didn't shoot well.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter Dickinson, didn't even make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Oscar Tshiebwe in Kentucky, guards let him down by not shooting well. Armando Bacot, his guards shot him out of the game.
Out of games.
Didn't give him the ball. The point to bring this back home then for Nebraska is, as much as we talk about Derek Walker and what he meant to this team, you need bigs to survive the regular season, especially in the Big Ten where everyone else has them. The big cannot be the focal point. Drew Timme at Gonzaga is an exception because, again, their guards are really good too. He's the offensive hub, but the guards are good enough to, carry their own weight. To me, Strick, for Nebraska, the lesson that we can learn, not just from this March, it's not just a one-year sample size. What we've seen,
it's consistent.
Guard play wins in March.
Facts.
You need
all the way.
You need big guys that can take up space, that can protect the rim, that can rebound, but you shouldn't have to play through them. That is a style of play that does not win in March.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Izzo's teams have had good postmen. They've had good guards more often. That's the reason he's the most successful Big Ten coach of my lifetime.
Yeah.
Guard play.
Yeah, guard play is definitely it's the seasoning. On a dry chicken, that's the seasoning you put on it to make it have some taste to it, some savor, so to speak. But yeah, I don't think Nebraska, they need just somebody that can take up space. I've talked about this before. Matter of fact, I've even mentioned this, at some point to some of their staff. I said, man, you need a Mikey Moore type. Mm-hmm. A guy that just doesn't necessarily have to have the ball to be successful and to be relevant in the game, but can be relevant by way of what he does, whether it be in the break, whether it be in the rebounds, whether it be in setting screens, just all kinds of fundamentals that surround or encompass that guy's game, whoever he is. Bring that person in and let that person be that solid piece for you throughout the season. But your guards have, your Jamarcus Lawrence's, and hopefully you can get Casey back. Whether you lost Denham, but that's okay because Denham really wasn't that. He was a great defender and so forth and so on. But maybe Q. But then Ramel,
Eli Rice
you're gonna want you're gonna let that be your centerpiece. And look. It's shown that that's possibly the way that they're going to run it. You look at their style, their offensive sets, the way that they run it. It's very five out type of flow. That's where Princeton's successful. You look up and down Princeton's. There's nobody on their team that's above 6'9".
Not a one.
Not one.
Nope.
And look, they can compete and win against some because what do? They fundamentally block out. They fundamentally take care of the ball. They do not turn the ball over, and they're getting good opportunities each time they get down the court, whether it be in a secondary, in a fast break. if you make a mistake, they take advantage of it, and they're good at it, and they shoot the ball well. That's, to be honest, that's the recipe.
It has to be.
It has to be.
If you want to make a run in March. Again, you need big guys to take up space because you can't get beat on the boards like you did 2 seasons ago if you're Nebraska. You need better rim protection. I don't know the last time, Strick, that Nebraska had a legitimate shot deterrent at the rim.
Facts.
You need one of those guys. But again, they shouldn't be the centerpiece of the team. They can quarterback the defense. They can be the leading rebounder. Yeah. But the guys whose names you need to hear for 15 to 20 points a night are the guards. Sprinkle a wing or two in there. I mean, there's not another Keontae Johnson in the portal right now. But if you can have a switchable wing, like if you can get another Juwan Gary, I mean, Juwan Gary, you don't want him on a center all the time, but if you're going to play fast, you're going to blitz, or you think you can survive 1 or 2 possessions with Juwan Gary switched on a 5, that's why I love wings. That can do so many things well. You can play up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you need someone to pair with Blaise Keita. Again, hope Blaise Keita stays healthy. I think he can be that guy for Nebraska. As tall as he is, showed some rebounding knack and some shot blocking knack. Blaise Keita can be one of those guys. You need another guy like him, and you can't expect that much more from them. Have that be their role. Simplify it.
Yeah.
Tell them to be elite at that, and then go get your guards, pour development time into your guards to say, put the ball in the basket. Create kickouts for us. That's your job. We're running through you.
Yeah, and I wish he had a better gait. When I mean gait, I mean I wish it just seems like he's very tight in his hips, doesn't run extremely well. Just needs to work on his footwork. So again, who's out there right now? I mean, there's guys jumping in the portal. There's seniors out there. There's 3-star guys, but Nebraska really needs a ready-made guy. I mean, to complement Goggles, to complement, which is Breidenbach, to complement Keita. I don't think Oleg was that. But they just need somebody that has some form of finish. I mean, when I'm talking about they catch the ball anywhere near the rim, somebody's put in it. They need somebody like that. I don't believe Keita's that. Him and Breidenbach are the layup kings. I mean, they barely will elevate, and that's why their stuff gets tossed quite a bit. If you're near the rim, I'm trying to put, as a guard, even myself, Austin, if I got near a rim, I'm trying to put you in it. That's how you've got, that's what I'm looking for. Somebody with bad intentions. Find that person. Hopefully he shows up in the portal. I don't know, but we'll see.
One other thing to that before we will play the shootout coming up next. Strick is back. Got to take the crown back from Nick, so be ready for that. Something we were talking about in the crossover yesterday, and then DP and Kenny touched on it a little bit, is just how much more athletic the SEC teams, even some of the Big East teams, Big 12 teams too, are than the Big 10. Trace Jackson-Davis, phenomenal athlete. He's an exception. The posts that Big 10 teams typically have are pretty ground-bound. A team in the Big 10 that can get a legitimate lob threat would, I don't say run the conference, but that would go a long way. Because you see SEC teams, you see Big East teams, Big 12 teams running lobs to their 4s and 5s. I don't remember the last time we saw an intentional lob from a Big 10 team to a big man. I mean, the guards, I'm sure, are comparable athletically. There's probably more true wings in the SEC, Pac-12, Big 12. But to me, the biggest disparity is in how unathletic the Big 10's big guys look.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. And that's why I say, I would love to have, I don't care if you're wired like Tyson Chandler used to be. I don't care. But he had something that he was very doggish about his intentions, and when he got around the rim, when he handled, I don't care
even
if it's
DeAndre
Kenyon
Jordan.
Martin type.
Sure.
It's just somebody that just is like, I don't care if it's Ben Wallace type. You don't have to be 7 foot, but just be 6'8", 6'9" with some bad intentions with you. That's going to clear some room and some space, and don't give a god darn, where you are in the mix of it. But if you come in this space, there's something that you're going to have to deal with.
It's getting put on your head.
Yeah.
If you come in this space.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think holds back the Big Ten athleticism in some ways, we see a little bit of this out of Michigan State and how fast they run, even after makes.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of transition. So I don't think a lot of Big Ten coaches, especially on the offensive end, do a good job in letting their athletes shine. It's even Iowa, that goes pretty fast, not a lot of athletes on that team. Wisconsin, we know, is going to play slow. Rutgers, athletic on the defensive end. Northwestern, kind of capped in the athletes they can get. Purdue has never been the most athletic team out there. So even if there are good athletes in the Big Ten, the style of play in this conference is so different from what everyone else is doing when you get to tournament time.
Facts. And I think that's why they beat each other up. Because you're looking in the mirror half the time on what you're playing against for the most part. And that's why I can understand what Fred was trying to do. He was trying to set himself apart with the style. It just didn't work. Because why? You just didn't have the same discipline. It can work with a disciplined team. Look at Princeton.
Disciplined team and a team that can shoot.
That can shoot. If you're disciplined and you can shoot, and it wasn't that they couldn't shoot. It was that the shots they were taking were just like, golly. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you put yourself at a disadvantage because of your shot, the shots that you're trying to take. So that's the way I look at it, man. I think, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're able to pull, who jumps in the portal for them, and let's see where it happens.
Absolutely. We're going to step aside right now. We've got the shootout with Strick coming up next. What do you know about Husker baseball and softball? How are those teams doing? Who are the leaders? We'll get into that. In hour two, talking a lot of Husker football, a lot of spring ball. Strick and I will give you our thoughts to lead off hour two. Steve Sipple on 3 Husker Online will join us at the bottom of the hour. But next, call 402-464-5685 for the shootout with Strick. Got to get the champ back on his throne. We'll do that next.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay Teal from Nebraska Golf Team. Imagine golfing the best courses in the world. St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Southern Hills, the best of the best. You can play those courses and more without ever leaving the city of Lincoln at Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle has the city's best golf simulators, 5 high-quality bays that track ball speed, launch angle, club speed, spin rate, and more to give you the most accurate gameplay. Check it out for yourself year-round. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
March is a month of good luck. From epic runs in state basketball to watching Cinderella spring the upset in college basketball. And of course, St. Patrick's Day. Luck is on your side at Mullen Motors too, because their lot is full of great vehicles to take home. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Your luck starts this month at Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
This is Jay Foreman. When I played football for Nebraska and in the NFL, I wore protective gear to safeguard my health. Today, I'm not only protecting my health, but everyone in our community by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Update your protection with the bivalent COVID vaccine while it's still free. Find out more at healthylincoln.org. That's healthylincoln.org.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mix Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical, and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginnings in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Mike Shaver here to tell you that Trek CBD has a new name, and it's Hemp Boss. It's the same products you've grown to love, just a new name. Spring sports are on the horizon, and Hemp Boss has a variety of products that help calm me down during games and on the golf course so I don't go over the top. And they have a variety of options for you to calm you down before, during, and after any event. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Hemp Boss has it all at 84th and Andermatt. Hemp Boss, naturally healthy CBD.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States. But regular screening can reduce colon cancer deaths by 50%. At-home screening tests, such as the fecal immunochemical test, FIT, can help identify precancerous polyps and prevent colon cancer. FIT is easy to use with prep needed, can be completed in the privacy of your own home, and are often free to order from your local county health department. Take a health quiz to know if you are at risk of developing colon cancer. Doing so will help you to protect your family and yourself.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Chances are you've tried fruitcake before. Chances are it looked pretty weird. Lots of colors that don't really exist in nature. Chances are it tasted weird. Chances are you need to try fruitcake again. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. None of that weird stuff you didn't like, just real fruit, premium nuts, and the delicious flavor combination of brandy, bourbon, and rum to meld all that together. See for yourself. Grandma's Fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Trey Palmer in the building. Everybody want to hear about, the 40. As if they're shocked. Why are everybody so shocked that you're that fast?
I don't know. I guess they don't watch film.
Something?
It's on the film.
It's
all over the film. It's not just on it. It's all over the film.
Splitting?
Everywhere.
Double covered?
Everywhere. When my name is called, just make the play when it's called. You feel me? See ball, get ball. I know nobody can't run, man, and I know I ain't been outthrown by a quarterback yet.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game.
That's right. Let's do it. Now, Strick, you got to follow up a dominating performance by Nick Sainer yesterday.
Boo. I had 5 points last time, so
okay.
You can't do nothing.
I think it was Chris who called yesterday. Gave Nick a run, though. So Nick puts up 5, and Chris had the tiebreaker on the tip of his tongue, but just missed it. Or the two-pointer, the money ball, on the tip of his tongue.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, I'm ready.
Husker baseball, Husker softball are the topics. We go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline. We welcome in James. James, how you feeling today?
Good.
Glad to hear it. Hold on the line. We will give Strick his round of questions first. Then you will get your chance to match. Strick, back in the chair, ready to do this.
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Shootout with Strick round 1 in 3, 2, and 1. He leads Nebraska baseball in batting average. Cole Evans or Max Anderson?
Max.
Yep, he leads Nebraska baseball in innings pitched. Emmett Olson or Jace Kaminska?
Olson.
Yep, she leads Nebraska softball in home runs. Billy Andrews or Brooke Andrews?
Brooke.
Nope, it's Billy. She has the fewest errors of any regular starter for Nebraska softball. Maya Felder or Ava Bredwell?
Maya.
Yep, and Nebraska baseball opens its season series with this team tonight.
Creighton.
It is Creighton.
Oh, Stricky, you better tell doggone Austin what's going on around here. This is East Strick. I ain't no sucker. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go.
Rico gave it away. Rico, I was really hoping you weren't going to mention Creighton at the end of happy hour. So it's too late to change the question. James, sorry about that one. But you need 5 to tie. You need 6 to win. Are you ready for your round of the shootout?
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll get it going here in 3, 2, and 1. He leads Nebraska baseball in home runs. Bryce Matthews or Gabe Swanson?
Swanson.
Nope, it's Matthews. He has Nebraska baseball's lowest ERA as a starter. Jace Kaminska or Michael Garza?
Garza.
Nope, it's Kaminska. She leads Nebraska softball in batting average. Caitlin Kaneda or Caitlin Neal?
Neal.
Nope, it's Kaneda. She leads Nebraska softball in innings pitched. Courtney Wallace or Sarah Harness?
Harness.
It's Wallace. Nebraska softball plays this former conference rival tomorrow in its home opener.
Kansas.
Nope, they did play Kansas recently. A good guess, but the answer is Iowa State. James, thanks for playing. You can hang up now because caller number 3 gets the $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. And Strick, we were talking at the end of happy hour. If you could still pitch for Team USA against Japan, you said no, but hey, you pitched a shutout right here.
Hey, man, listen, Stricky, I am not scared.
Nor should you be.
I am not scared. I'm willing to jump in there and listen, you saw my Facebook post.
Yes, sir.
I'll mix it up with Yao Ming and Shaq. I don't care. Let's get in. No, I'm just playing. I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming out. James, I appreciate you. It's a great competition. I feel pretty good about this the rest of this week.
Good. Tiebreaker question just for fun.
Let's get it.
How many home runs have Nebraska baseball and softball combined to hit this season?
12.
How about 61?
Dang! I'm way off.
So Billy Andrews has 10 herself, and Bryce Matthews has 6 himself.
Good gosh. Well, go ahead then.
Power surge.
Power surge. Smack it around, why don't you? Sheesh.
Sorry to end that on that note, but you do win today in dominating fashion. Congrats on the dub. Welcome back to it.
Yes, sir. Let's get it. Let's get into the next hour. Talk a little bit about some Husker football, yeah?
Let's do it. We do have a couple questions from the text line to answer about Husker basketball first. Then we'll hit on some Husker football, and we'll keep that conversation going with Steve Sipple. Hear him on Early Break here with Sip and Jake every morning. Also read his work online at On3 for Husker Online. We're keeping the conversation going. Hour 2 on the block after this.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
This is Jay Foreman. When I played football for Nebraska and in the NFL, I wore protective gear to safeguard my health. Today, I'm not only protecting my health, but everyone in our community by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Update your protection with the bivalent COVID vaccine while it's still free. Find out more at healthylincoln.org. That's healthylincoln.org.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mix Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical, and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginnings in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you. There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States. But regular screening can reduce colon cancer deaths by 50%. At-home screening tests, such as the fecal immunochemical test, FIT, can help identify precancerous polyps and prevent colon cancer. FIT is easy to use with no prep needed, can be completed in the privacy of your own home, and are often free to order from your local county health department. Take a health quiz to know if you are at risk of developing colon cancer. Doing so will help you to protect your family and yourself.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Mostly cloudy skies through much of the day, but could see some sunshine by late this afternoon. Much cooler with a high of around 50. Winds out of the south at around 10. Partly cloudy tonight with a low down to around 37. Will be slightly warmer as we head into our Wednesday. A chance of evening showers, a high of around 54. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block with Stricken Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Stricken Austin.
It's all about the follow through.
That's all I gotta say.
It's all about the follow through. You gotta hold the gooseneck. Just hold the gooseneck. You know you was a puller. You know you used to pull it back. You didn't hold the gooseneck.
I know my job. I know what it's about.
Wow, let's get it. Let's get it, man. Listen, Thursdays it's jumping back off. Obviously, you got TBS, CBS. Michigan State will be taking on K-State. That's going to be a good one. That could get another high view. I'm looking forward to the Arkansas-UConn, seeing what's going on there. FAU, Tennessee at 8 p.m. It's games all Thursday evening. Get in line, get in place. Gonzaga will take on UCLA to finish off the nightcap. But that's neither here nor there. We're moving on. It's time for Husker football, spring practice.
We're going to the text line first.
Ooh, let's get it.
Because you brought my attention to this from an anonymous texter who asked, are y'all saying that Coach Hoiberg's style from previous years is good for March but not the regular season?
Well, that's not what we're really saying. What we're saying is we can understand what his thought pattern was in trying to make that type of change, in knowing that the style works really good for the big, like, for example, let me just take it off the basketball real quick. You know, in football, the style of physicality, what Big Ten football is like.
Mm-hmm.
Does it always translate to national championships?
It does not.
Doesn't. They usually will come up short because There's some areas of lack that they may have. There's the physicality part of it. The other team matches up very well with them in the physical department. And so then there's some leaks. Now, how was Nebraska successful back in the day? They used to go down there and find some of these Florida dogs. Their cornerbacks, their a lot of their DBs, they had speed, length, athleticism, can run with some of the best out there. Even though the physical part of them, that was where their unique difference was as far as the Big Eight. They physically dominated you night in and night out. And it translated because it was a physicality not just on the offensive side, but on the defensive side. So their defense was so staunch, so athletic, so fast, so downhill on you that when it came time, you were off the field and their offense was just pounding on you. So by the time the fourth quarter, everybody's raising up to 4. You weren't ready for it because Nebraska was not only in shape, but they were physically imposing their will upon you on both sides of the ball, which gave deference to opportunities to break some plays at some times. That was their style.
Sure. And here's the thing with Fred Hoiberg's style. There's nothing right or wrong about it.
Yeah.
You just need the pieces to do it. Monty Morris would be the best point guard Nebraska's had since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very confident in saying that. So having a guy like him goes a long way. Having a guy like Georges Niang goes a long way. Having a home court advantage like Hilton Coliseum can be goes a long way. Not saying PBA is bad, but when those Iowa State teams are rolling, there's a reason they call it Hilton Magic.
Hilton is it is a tough place to play. I had to go out there many a times. It's a very tough place. I actually won out there a few times, very rare. But we were able to go out and get a couple. But let me tell you, you're right. That atmosphere is phenomenal. Nebraska's atmosphere, I think one of the things that they need to do is they need to get back to really having that lower bowl area dominated by the student section. Mm-hmm. Like I was telling somebody before, one of the advantages we had at Nebraska was that lower tier at Devaney, from circling around, was all students, and they were rowdy. And it was a phenomenal atmosphere, so much so that even Dick Vitale was lit up when we beat Kansas in there. But just how the atmosphere was just as good as any blue blood program in the country, right? Mm-hmm. I think they need to figure out a way to get back to that. And I think sometimes, both in football and basketball, in the big sports, that it's become very corporate, very, very monetary in the way that they're doing their business, which then there's some suffrage, I think, in some areas. Not to take away from those fans that paid the money to do that, but I think there's got to be a happy medium somewhere in that.
There does. Pinnacle Bank Arena is great. We hear a lot of good things about it. It's a really nice arena. It's fun. But the students are, A, so far away from the court.
Yeah.
B, self-contained in their own little area.
Yeah.
And that area doesn't make a whole lot of a difference.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of students on either end, during free throws, anything like that.
Yeah.
So, yes, it makes sense that Nebraska is playing at Pinnacle Bank Arena because it's such a nice arena. You're not going to pay that much money not to stick them in there.
You get a pro type of feel sometimes in Pinnacle Bank.
You do.
Like you're in the Dallas Mavericks game or something.
That's not what Nebraska needs.
No.
You need a college
Rowdy.
atmosphere,
Yeah.
right? You can get away with fewer seats if the environment is that much better.
Yeah.
If you can, raise the demand for that ticket. Again, helps if the team's good. But you look at Fog Allen, you look at Hilton, Gallagher-Iba is another, I think, underrated one.
Yeah.
You see the arms just sticking out over guys inbounding the basketball. That noise is on top of you. You don't have that in Lincoln.
Yeah, that is true. And I don't know what we can do. I think it's a necessity. I think it's something that needs to, be done. If you want to bring them, in and get them in. You want that atmosphere to be rowdy. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the reasons that I came. I mean, I would be regularly down there. Terrence Badgett was my roommate. He was there a year before me. I'd come down and be regularly watching games and just saw the environment, and it was just so dope to me that when I would come for camps and when I would play in state tournaments, I would be just like, this is home. It made you feel really good about where you were. And so I hope there's a way that they can work it out, but we'll see. We'll find out.
And this isn't just a basketball issue.
Yeah.
It's the same for football as well.
I agree.
Axel Foley on the text line says, why don't the students sit behind the benches anymore? Well, they do, but they sit behind both benches. It goes a little bit of the way into Michigan State's bench and a little bit of the way into Nebraska's bench. So it's not just behind the opposing team's bench, which, again, might be the best spot for it. Sure, maybe a slightly higher potential for incidents. If you're yelling things and someone, on the team takes offense. Yeah, sure, I understand the risk. But at some point, don't you have to trust your security guys, trust the players, trust the students watching the game? I mean, these incidents are rare when anything does happen. With football, Strick, this is the one that I understand less. As big as Memorial Stadium is, you stick the students as far away from the opponent as possible. You stick the band as far away from the opponent as possible. Don't you want that noise on the opposite sideline?
Yeah.
Don't you?
I agree. And that's why I used to love just because they used to have seats underneath the stadium, like right there in the end zones and kind of on the corners. And it can get rowdy down up under there. But they've done a lot of changes and a lot of adjustments there. But I just don't know where we can go from here. But I do know that it does make a difference. I can tell you that for sure.
Sticking on Husker football here, 402-464-5685 if you have any thoughts. Spring practice started yesterday. Matt Rhule spoke, and to me, Strick, the most notable thing that he said was that two players weren't practicing.
Yeah.
I don't really want to call it a suspension. I think that has a certain connotation.
He actually said that.
I suppose he did.
He did.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. The connotation doesn't feel like it, but his words said it was a suspension.
Right. But it's Anthony Grant and Tommy Hill, two guys that aren't being allowed to practice right now. What do you make of that and of Matt Rhule really laying down the law in his first spring?
I like it. I like it. You can't help but to respect it, right? Because of the fact that you're trying to make adjustments and changes to your culture. There may have, say what you will. I think Scott Frost had a very lackluster, lackadaisical, and an accepting of mediocrity culture. I don't know for sure. I wasn't there. We'd probably have to ask Kenny Wilhite when he comes in. That'd be a question I'd throw to him.
But we know what we saw on the field.
But we know what we
that's
saw.
A reflection.
It was definitely a reflection. And that lays down the law because here's the thing. If you don't handle yourself in the classroom, I tell kids this all the time when I speak to them. I say, school is a reflection. It is only an avenue that prepares and teaches you for next levels of what's to come. Because here's the thing. If you're not willing, no one's telling you when you need to get in the gym. No one's telling you when you need to work out. When you're a pro, no one's telling you how much you need to work out. No one's telling you to be prepared for what's in the scouting report and what's in that. You have to study. No one's telling you to watch film. They can, but you still, as a professional, still have to do it. So you have all these things. Class work is part of discipline. You may not like it. You may not ever use it. It may not be for you for whatever you're doing down the road. You may be straight in your NIL. You've got all kinds of money. You don't really feel that you need to go to school, but it's all part of a process. Because when you get to the next level, there's going to be playbooks, terminologies that as long as a freaking paragraph when some of these quarterbacks are reading them off, right? So if you can't study that, how do you think you're going to prepare at the next level when you're getting a freaking long playbook and that's your freaking job? So it's all part of the process. So I love what he's doing. This comes first. You are first what they call a student athlete. That's been lost in NIL. That's been lost in some of the stuff as far as you wanting to go pro and leaving to go pro early. All of that's been lost, but it's still, you are student athlete first. And then anything that comes less than that, then you either need to hit the portal or this isn't what we're doing. We're not dealing in mediocrity because otherwise it'll translate to the field.
I do think there's something to be said too for Matt Rhule and, sticking to the standard because I know coaches in some places would say, well, we have a new coordinator, and I'm a new guy, so we really want these guys out on the field to make sure they get all the install that they need to see as many of our best guys out there together as we can. So we're still new this semester, but when fall comes around, we're gonna lay down the law. When fall comes, it's going to be real. They resisted that temptation.
Yeah.
Spring ball is important to get that install in, regardless of whether you're a new player, returning player, new coordinator, returning coordinator, doesn't matter. Spring ball is important. It's where the learning's done.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a positive sign to see that they're not taking the easy way out, letting the guys on the field this spring and then picking it up in the fall. No, from day one, standards are standards. That has to mean something.
What is the hardest thing to do? The hardest thing to do is to get behind and try to catch up. Because if you're not, it's easier to stay on top or ahead. So the more you're ahead on the workload, the less it is on you.
It's hard work, but easier in the long run.
Exactly, right? So you're putting yourself at jeopardy of an A.J. Allen or a
Ramir Johnson. Or winter star Gabe Ervin.
Somebody taking over and getting ahead of you. Whose fault is that? It's not mine. It's yours.
You have the resources there for you.
You have the resources. You could have went to summer class. There's a lot of things you could have done because this is obviously a transition into a new regime that's just not going to allow you to just be mediocre in how you're dealing with things. Now, my interest is to see how Betts is going to do. You know, being that he dealt with what he dealt with, is he able to handle the load, the school, getting back, maybe not being in the same position, but you get a fresh start because you have a new regime coming in, so you're not dealing with the old. So I'm looking to see what these new relationships are looking like, but we'll see.
I'm glad you brought up Betts, one of your own.
Yeah, Bellevue West kid.
Yes, sir. Young position coach with a guy that's been away from a year.
Yeah.
That we don't know where his head's at, how he's going to reacclimate to college football. They do bring in a couple transfers to that room in Billy Kemp and Joshua Fleeks. To me, it's going to be on those guys to make sure Xavier Betts stays on topic, stays on course. Not going to say Garrett McGuire can't do it, but I think the help that Xavier Betts, who knows if he needs it or not. Maybe he's all good to go. My gut tells me, though, that Fleeks and Kemp are going to have big roles in how Xavier Betts gets back on the field.
Yeah, and that's okay, and especially if you can get that kind of leadership out of the portal. That's an amazing thing to be able to do. The good thing about, like, on the basketball side, we're talking football, but on the basketball side, the good thing is that you have a good core of that leadership returning. You don't know what you're going to get out of Casey, but you know you got somebody who's been in it, and that's Juwan Gary. That's some of your guards that now got to see what the expectations are and then take on new roles and assert themselves. So even Jamarcus is going to get an opportunity to take his – now you need a good compilation of those that are vocal about it and a compilation of those that just do it by way of – so in essence for us, when I was playing, I was very vocal. I was the very vocal leader, as well as I would lay it on the line as far as that. But Tyronn Lue, even as the point guard, wasn't that. Jerron Boone, even as the lead guard, wasn't that. Those guys were just go play and do it by example. Terrence Badgett was a vocal guy. You know, in that Pikowski, even when he was leading the team, he wasn't that. That came by way of Jamar Johnson or even Bruce Chubbuck. Those guys were more vocal. So you have to have a good balance of those guys that do it by way of asserting themselves. So looking at the football team, who's that going to be?
Fantastic question, because last year we heard a lot about Garrett Nelson and what he meant. Travis Vokalek had been around for a while. Casey Thompson wasn't named a captain. Quentin Newsome. Guys like that. Newsome's back.
Yep.
Casey Thompson's back. The other two are gone. We know some of the names. Is Ty Robinson one of those guys? Is there a sophomore that steps up into that role we haven't seen before? But I do think that's important because, like you said, the hardest thing to do is get behind. And especially for some of these guys, I'm sure one of the hardest things they've had to do is get behind Matt Rule in the standards he wants to hold them to.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff is going to be new to them. So which players are the ones that do get behind what this coaching staff is selling? Who are those guys that are going to take that message, run with it, get better, and step up and be those leaders? That, to me, Strick, is a big part of what these next 13, 14 practices are all about.
Agreed. Sutter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Who is it? Who do you think, as you look at this lineup, whether it be newcomers, whether it be those who have been there and established themselves, or you think of the ones that are capable of stepping in and being the leaders, the charge for this incoming group? 2, do you think Garrett Nelson comes back?
Nelson declared.
I know, but can he come back?
I thought he said he was done.
Okay, well then that's a no bueno. Okay. I just threw it out there. I didn't know for sure. I still think it was a mistake. If you two think it was a mistake, hit us up on the text line 402-464-5685. Do you think Garrett Nelson is ready for the NFL, or do you think he should have came back? And if not, why?
If Garrett Nelson has a twin named Derek Nelson, feel free to send him back for some experience in leadership.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. We'll keep the football conversation going. Got Steve Sipple, our own Steve Sipple, early break with Sip and Jake. We'll talk to him about all this next.
Colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States, but regular screening can reduce colon cancer deaths by 50%. At-home screening tests, such as the fecal immunochemical test, FIT, can help identify precancerous polyps and prevent colon cancer. FIT is easy to use with no prep needed, can be completed in the privacy of your own home, and are often free to order from your local county health department. Take a health quiz to know if you are at risk of developing colon cancer. Doing so will help you to protect your family and yourself.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $20 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Guys, when I first started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, I weighed in at over 300 pounds. Now, less than a year later, I'm under 200 pounds for the first time since high school. I'm stronger, I'm healthier, and it all began with the Farrell's 10-Week Challenge. 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and guided nutrition coaching to help you reach your fitness goals. Their next 10-week challenge begins on April 8th. If you're wanting to change your life like I have, head to theticketfm.com and click on Enroll Now on the homepage. Plus, get a promo code for a discount just for ticket listeners. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
This is Jay Foreman. I wore gear to protect my health on the football field, and I'm protecting it now by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Get up to date while it's still free and stay protected. Learn more at healthylincoln.org.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
If you're not sure what your evening plans are and want to change things up, look no further than Craft Axe Throwing. Whether for a date night, an evening with friends, or even a private party, you're sure to make memories at Craft Axe Throwing. Trained instructors help make things easy to understand, and a stock bar makes it a great hangout spot. With 13 throwing lanes, there's plenty of opportunity to reserve your spot today. Choose the Lincoln location at craftaxethrowing.com to book a lane or call 402-802-9696. Craft Axe Throwing at 18th and N. There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more, and they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bottom of hour number 2 of On the Block. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland with you, and back on the 93.7 The Ticket airwaves. Now the first time we've heard him today, Mr. Steve Sipple. Steve, it's been a couple weeks. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, Austin. How are you doing?
Glad to hear it. Things are good here. We got Husker spring ball underway, and
you see Stricky representing. You can't see it, but Stricky representing on 3 right now.
Stricky, you're always there. I appreciate that.
Got the hat on. I said, yeah, I got Sip coming on today. I said, let me go in and represent on 3.
You do not have the hat on.
Sure I do.
He does.
Stricky, thank you.
Yeah, y'all big time. I love everything about what y'all got going on. It's good stuff.
All right, well, that's nice of you, Strick.
So, yes, Steve, you've been doing plenty of work covering Husker spring ball as it gets underway. We're here already. We've had, a couple practices in the books. I know there's a lot of excitement because it is football in Nebraska. People want it back. They don't want to go so long without it. But as excited as I think people are, I do feel like there's, some more wait and see in this fan base. The Kool-Aid not flowing quite as fast. I mean, you interact with fans, on the daily basis on your show, the comments of your articles. Do you get that same feeling?
Oh, absolutely, Austin. I think it's appropriate, that sort of hesitancy right now. I mean, Nebraska fans have seen a lot. Their hopes have been dashed a lot. I think it's just I think it's a conscious decision on the parts of some people, and probably subconscious to a certain extent with others, or some sort of mix. I know, just as a human being, I'm that way. I don't think Matt Rule necessarily would understand it. I think psychologically this place can get pretty complex, but no, I think that's an accurate characterization, Austin. I think people are a little hesitant. I know that if I write something that is trends toward optimistic, you get called out on it. Like, oh, here you go again, Sipple, pumping sunshine, that sort of thing, which I appreciate. I mean, I understand it. So, yeah, there's definitely that hesitancy, Austin.
We're 3.5 months into the Matt Rule era, such as it is. We know we're just early in spring ball, but what have you seen from Matt Rule so far that you like, that he's been doing well? Is there anything that gives you pause about what you've seen so far?
The thing I really like is just here's what I like. He's embraced it. He's really embraced it. Now, some people, I get it. Again, there's people that will say, well, what do you expect? He's making $9 million a year.
I'd embrace that too.
He's very genuine in the way he's embraced it. Maybe that's a better way to put it. He does. He seems taken by the place and the amount of attention the program gets and how fervent the fan base is. I think it's struck a good chord with him. He's a football guy. I think he likes that. Now, Austin, Strick, that can change when they lose. The first time they lose a game they're supposed to win, or the first time, if they get blown out, the tenor of the conversation changes. But right now, we don't need to talk about that. The thing that's given me pause is they haven't added the big men that they, in my opinion, they've needed to add. Offensive linemen and defensive linemen. They're a little. When I keep saying they're a little light up front, I don't mean it literally. I mean it figuratively, mostly, especially on the offensive side. They're not light, and they got big guys, but they're not. I don't know. I mean, I just wish I could look at that line and say, oh yeah, that's a road grader unit. I mean, they're gonna, they're gonna hammer people. We just haven't seen that for so long. On the defensive side, I don't know, losing Colton Feast, for some reason, people just write that off as no big deal. That's an example. You can't. It's hard to lose. It's hard for a program to lose a big, productive guy, and they don't have a lot on that side, on the defensive side. Interior guys. You can't. They might turn out to be fine there. I don't know, but I thought they should add for sure another offensive lineman, just one more, in addition to the Arizona State transfer. And then I thought you'd have to add 2 defensive linemen that you could look at and say they're ready to go. And they didn't. They didn't do that. Well, they added Elijah Judy. Mm-hmm. Now, Judy's huge, but I think that huge, and again, I'm not speaking literally. He's big enough. But they need Judy to be good. He almost has to be good, And then I would like to see him add 1 or 2 more of those type of players.
We thought they had the offensive lineman for a second in Walter Rouse, but then he decommits and goes to Oklahoma. That's a loss. But on the offensive line, Ethan Piper said something to the effect of he felt like the team had been babied recently. Do you think he was just referring to stuff on the field, off the field, or do you think there's something to be said that it was probably both?
Oh, I don't. It's hard for me to imagine a Raiola babying anybody on the field. I don't know what. Now, I didn't hear Ethan's interview, and that's the first I've heard of that. So I don't know exactly what he was referring to. I don't know. That strikes me as odd because of Donovan. I know Donovan's personality. I don't know Donovan as well as I know Dominic, but I know he's a Raiola, and I know enough about him. I'm surprised. I don't think they got babied in terms of how their offensive line coach treated him. So I'd have to look into that comment.
Sip, real quick. Obviously, as had been previously stated, I talked about this being probably the craziest NCAA tournament probably of all time, with just how things are panning out. Now, as you've watched styles of play, we see that the Big Ten has faltered, seriously. Only one getting through is Michigan State at this point to the Sweet 16. Mm-hmm. When you look at the style of play, the types of players that are still left, what do you look at Nebraska in what they need to bring in, accomplish in this transfer portal that can help them to be able to fight if they were to make a run at an NCAA tournament next year?
Well, it's a fairly complex question. It's a good question because not all these teams are the same. But the one thing I would say, in an overarching sense, is just more athleticism, mm-hmm. more speed and athleticism. Now, size, speed, and athleticism. Nebraska didn't have enough of it, clearly. I mean, I'm not talking out of turn here. They finished where they finished. They didn't make it in the NIT. I've watched Bama. Bama's a clear example of a team that's ungodly athletic, right? But it's not just Alabama. You can go to a 4-seeded UConn that starts 2 7-footers, but is athletic around those 2 7-footers, really athletic. Different kind of team than Alabama, but still tough and athletic. Mm-hmm. What I'm struck by all the time watching this tournament is the toughness of the teams and the athleticism. Now, Fred went out and got two guys that fit, like Jawan Gary and three, actually, Greasel and Vandermill. All those guys, when I watched the tournament, I think those guys would work in this. Just probably need more of them. You got to right now. He's got to go. I'd say Fred's got to get a point guard. Nice to get a wing. Got to get a big, and they got to get guys that are ready to go. I mean, ready to score 12, 15 a game.
Yeah,
there's speed on him. I mean, I think Austin and Strick. I almost think the off season for Fred is as interesting as what's going on at the football stadium.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, Fred is in year 5. He hasn't made the postseason. And he's got to get guys, and not filler guys, not to fill in around a bunch of guys you say can get it done. They're good guys coming back. They're good. I mean, Jamarcus Lawrence is excellent. Casey is excellent. There's some good players coming back, but he needs to go get some dudes. And sometimes I think, I hope he's watching this tournament. I mean, you watch Tennessee and tell me what you see.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, Tennessee's a bunch of big dirt. That's a physical team. I mean, they go headhunting when they check. So that's an example. I watched all of Kentucky and K-State. I mean, they're tough dudes. They're physical, and I just think toughness. I don't know how you recruited Strick. I mean, come on, Strick. You were that guy. So, I understand it because I've seen it.
Yeah.
And you see it in the tournament time, but it's hard to kind of describe it to someone if, you got to kind of point out certain players. That Kansas State point guard, Noel, I think his name is Mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a tough dude. He's not, there's no back down in him,
Facts.
So, yeah, it's a lot of Nebraska. Sometimes I think they're close. And then sometimes I think, no, they're not. They're not. When I'm watching this tournament, sometimes I wonder. It's kind of in the eye of the beholder, though.
How much of that athleticism, Steve, do you think comes from, whether it's basketball or football, comes from there just being more athletes in the recruiting areas? And how much of it is on the Big Ten coaches for not necessarily opening up their playbook and letting their athletes shine all the time?
I'm not qualified to answer that. I wonder about the athleticism part of it a little bit. And I do wonder why the Big Ten has only one team left. I don't think it's an easy discussion. It's not like Maryland doesn't have a roster that you look at and say, oh God, that's athletic. They are really athletic. I mean, they are really big. They're a really athletic team. So maybe it's just Maryland got a bad draw. I mean, they just weren't going to beat Alabama. Now, when I look at Purdue, I do see lack of athleticism across the board. I've said it on my show.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said it on your show. The guy, Bill and Jake kind of laughed at me when I said, if you take off Edey, they are really average looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, what they said, those guys laughed and said, well, of course, if you take the best player off of every team, it's going to change it dramatically. No, it doesn't. It changes some teams more dramatically than others. And with Purdue, it's dramatic. If you take Edey off that team, which, sometimes he's on the bench, and when they're playing, they really, okay, let's put it this way. Tell me I'm wrong. If Purdue without Edey looks like an 8th or 9th place team in the Big Ten. That's what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with Edey, they won the regular season title and a tournament title. But if you take him away, that is no way. I mean, there's no shot. They're not finishing in the upper division. So I don't know. It's complicated. It's really fascinating. I don't believe that it's that. I don't believe in the theory that they beat each other up. The Big Ten teams beat each other up in the regular season. I don't believe that because the Big 12 is a meat grinder. The Big East is a meat grinder. Those teams do better at come tournament time. So I don't know. I don't know what it is.
A couple things back on football before we let you go. As you look at spring practice, who do you think who are some guys you're monitoring in terms of their performance this spring, guys are waiting to hear about with a new set of eyes on them? Who are some of those breakout candidates in your eyes?
Oh, with a new set of eyes on them. Gabe Ervin. I mean, just go back to what Matt Rule said about him yesterday, that he's had one of the best winters of anybody. Gabe Ervin's a clear example. Mm-hmm. Clearly, Gabe Ervin at the running back position benefits from new eyes on him, and Anthony Grant's out. I mean, Anthony Grant is suspended, academics, and just he has to clean up some off-field stuff. It's not a good – I mean, if I were Anthony, I'd be a little nervous because at that position you have Gabe Ervin drawing high praise from the coach and the coach's first media appearance of the spring. You know A.J. Allen's knocking on the door, and you have Ramir Johnson in that room. I mean, this is a very competitive room, and if you're Anthony Grant, you don't want to be sitting out right now.
Facts.
No, it's not good for him. I mean, not in that room. So that definitely be one guy. Xavier Betts is certainly that guy. He's given a second chance, essentially, with a new staff, and has responded real well from what I've heard. Strick would probably know more about that than me. Garcia Castaneda fits that. On defense, let me think about defense. Who could benefit from a new set of coaching eyes on him? I don't know. I don't know if there's any other. I'd say Omar Brown is that guy. Omar's back. You know, he came here with back issues, and I think back issues slowed him a little bit last season. Now you see the photo of him on Twitter carrying Teddy Prohaska, who weighs 320 pounds, literally carrying him on his back. I think his back must be okay. Now, Omar Brown, that's the kind of guy you could see challenge maybe a Miles Farmer. And so I'd watch Omar Brown. I'd watch Javin Wright. Those two guys stand out in my mind. Javin Wright had established himself with the previous staff. So I think Omar Brown's probably a better example.
Similar vein, but different at the same time. I know Thomas Fidone was marched up to speak at the podium after the winter drills were done because of his work as a captain for that team. Just how important is it for the Nebraska coaching staff to identify more guys like Fidone who are bought into what they want to do and kind of step into that leadership void left by Garrett Nelson's departure?
Oh, that's no, I never thought of it that way, but that's a good way to put it with Fidone. I mean, Fidone is a Garrett Nelson type player. Now Fidone probably can't lead like Garrett did because Fidone hasn't done anything yet. Right. But once he does, he's that type of guy. He really is. And he proved himself as a leader to a certain extent in the winter conditioning program. Fidone, you know, if he stays healthy and has the kind of production we expect, he'll not only be a force on the field on Saturdays, but he'll be a great leader in the program. He has that type of personality, and he cares a lot about the program. He's still here. I mean, he's definitely that type of guy. Now, are you wondering who else would be like that?
I mean, how many more guys like Fidone does Nebraska need to take a step forward? Is it just enough to fill out the captains? Is it one in each room? Just how important is it to find, a high level of buy-in this spring specifically?
Well, here's the thing that's interesting. Bill today talked about it on the show, Bill Bush, and he was talking basically about what Matt Rule has said repeatedly, which is he's come across a team that's very tough-minded and coachable. And some people would say that's just what coaches say. That's not true. They don't always say that. I've seen it at Nebraska where they don't say that. The fact is, this program wasn't in shambles. Now listen, you'll get text right away probably say, listen to Sipple, still sticking up for Frost. No, that's not what I'm doing. But they didn't come across a program that was disheveled. They didn't win enough. That's for sure. But this isn't Riley all over again, where they just limp to the finish line and we're getting whacked and weren't working out and we're getting hammered we're getting blown out, games that were embarrassing. It wasn't like that last year. I mean, they beat Iowa on the road to end the year and were in games all year long. So Rule, I think Rule's very genuine, as he keeps saying. This is a bunch of coachable guys. These guys want to win. This is a tough team. So Austin, what I'm telling you is, I don't think you need to flip it that much. I don't think there needs to be a massive culture overhaul here.
Yeah.
There's going to be, to the extent that it's a new group of leaders in the program, a new group of coaches. So there's naturally going to be a new culture, but he's not walking into a train wreck. And now, again, you'll get a lot of pushback saying that. I don't care. I mean, all we got to do is listen to the coaches talk. Now, if you think if you don't agree with me, then essentially what you're saying is that Rule is not being genuine. I think Rule's genuine. I don't think he would talk about this team like he does if he didn't feel it.
Check this out. Just real quick. You don't have to be long on this one, but listen. The dagger that has been in Nebraska's heart about when they play Minnesota, Jamison Battle has jumped into the transfer portal.
Jamison Battle has jumped into the portal.
Do you think that's a player that the Huskers should go after with his style of play, the way that he plays the game? Would it be a good fit, that type of player for Nebraska?
Why not?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think his shooting ability, the ability to stretch, he's long. I would say, I don't know on the defensive side, maybe, but I think he has some qualities that would be a good fit.
I'd get the NIL operation going on that. I'd make sure to contact him. Yeah, I mean he's a proven Big Ten player that can shoot it from all over. Right?
Whew. Can stroke it. Yeah. I mean, literally stroke it.
He can really shoot it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
so no, I'm surprised he's leaving. Actually.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So the young big man.
Without a doubt.
The young big man that they got. Gosh darn it! What is his name?
Payne or
Payne. Like I like a Payne type for Nebraska. He's not necessarily. He's got great feet, great timing. He is a physical and opposing post type player. They got a good young squad going there. I was surprised to see Jamison jump in there too. He's got 2 years left though. You know, so, hey, I guess why not test the market?
Yeah. Now some people are going to say strict. Some people are going to say, why are you guys surprised? I mean, their record was bad. Their record was bad, but I didn't think they were terrible.
I didn't think they were bad. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't. When I look at the Big Ten tournament as it applies to Nebraska, I don't look at it like Nebraska lost to a terrible team. That's not a terrible team.
Yeah.
They had a terrible record, but they weren't a terrible team. So absolutely, Battle would be a guy I would think Fred would look at because, hey, man, I mean, strangely in basketball sometimes you kind of overlook the most important thing, which is putting the ball in the basket. I mean, you can get lost when you evaluate some guys in their jumping ability and their length, but oh, by the way, they can't shoot it. Well, I don't know. I mean, you can have a few of those guys, but I just like guys that can put it in the basket.
Yeah, there's 17 teams that have jumped out on them. Notables are Arkansas as well as Indiana has kind of jumped in on that. Illinois, Clemson, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Nebraska's obviously in there. They're part of the mix. Ohio State, Oklahoma State. Yeah, so he's got a good Xavier, Villanova. So he's got a good amount of teams that are chasing after him. It's going to be a matter of which one fits, but definitely Nebraska's in on him. So.
Well, that's good. I mean, when I talk about a wing, that's what I'm talking about, Strick. I mean, that's the kind of player. Now, it'd be good to see a defender in there too. I mean, because I'm thinking about replacing Bandamel. I like to see an athletic wing that plays defense like Bandamel did. Now, Bandamel could play point. Maybe a guy like that who's versatile. But I mean, this isn't playtime. You got to go get somebody to replace Walker, who turned out to be a fabulous player.
Yeah.
You just don't. Now those guys are hard to replace. Sam Griesel's hard to replace. Walker hard to replace. Bandamel not probably quite as hard, but only because of the position he plays. You should be able to get a guy like that. But man, those bigs. I mean, that's a valuable. You lost a man in Walker. So it's got, hey, all by way of saying, those like Robin Washut covering this part of Nebraska basketball is gigantic in the next few weeks.
Sure is. That's Steve Sipple of Early Break with Sip and Jake and Coach Bill Bush now, as well as Husker Online on 3. Steve, appreciate your time as always. We'll catch up with you after a big junior day for Husker football this weekend.
Oh, yeah, big junior day and then pro day tomorrow.
That's right. We'll get your thoughts on that next week if you're game.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Steve. Once again, Steve Sipple with us here on The Block. We'll step aside, set you up for old school on the other side.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. Boys State basketball is over, and here are your class champions. Starting with D2, local school Parkview Christian would upset number 1 Wynot 52-49. In Class D1, Johnson Brock would take down number 1 Sacred Heart 46-40. In Class C2, Freeman would dominate in the championship game over Amherst 53-35. Ashland Greenwood would take the C1 title championship, beating Auburn 54-24. In Class B, Scott Catholic beat Platteview 57-50. And in Class A, Bellevue West would finish on a perfect season, winning the championship over Miller North 64-41. This has been your Southeast Community College High School Minute. Learn more today at southeast.edu with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mix Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical, and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginnings in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. and can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsrats.com. Bats Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you're not sure what your evening plans are and want to change things up, look no further than Craft Axe Throwing. Whether for a date night, an evening with friends, or even a private party, you're sure to make memories at Craft Axe Throwing. Trained instructors help make things easy to understand, and a stock bar makes it a great hangout spot. With 13 throwing lanes, there's plenty of opportunity to reserve your spot today. Choose the Lincoln location at craftaxethrowing.com to book a lane or call 402-802-9696. Craft Axe Throwing at 18th and N.
Colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States. Regular screening can reduce colon cancer deaths by 50%. At-home screening tests, such as the fecal immunochemical test, FIT, can help identify precancerous polyps and prevent colon cancer. FIT is easy to use with no prep needed, can be completed in the privacy of your own home, and are often free to order from your local county health department. Take a health quiz to know if you are at risk of developing colon cancer. Doing so will help you to protect your family and yourself.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
This is Jay Foreman. I wore gear to protect my health on the football field, and I'm protecting it now by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Get up to date while it's still free and stay protected. Learn more at healthylincoln.org.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Trey Palmer in the building. Everybody want to hear about, the 40. As if they're shocked. Why are everybody so shocked that you're that fast?
I don't know. I guess they don't watch film.
Something?
It's on the film.
It's
all over the film. It's not just on it. It's all over the film.
Splitting?
Everywhere.
Double covered?
Everywhere. When my name is called, just make the play when it's called. You feel me? See ball, get ball. I know nobody can't run, man, and I know I ain't been outthrown by a quarterback yet.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to On the Block. It is the crossover with DP and Austin and I still here for one more segment. It's not going to be a long one. We want to let DP and the crew get to it, but I do want to throw it out to you. Based on your observance, again, Big Ten schools not represented very well in moving past. What's your thought on that and the why? But also, what has been your true perspective on what you've seen as far as this tournament this year?
Disappointed.
In Big Ten?
Disappointed.
Okay.
Disappointed. We were talking yesterday. Austin, Kenny, and I were talking about it, and you even asked Jay if there cause for alarm if you're in the Big Ten Conference when it comes to basketball. Remember, the cause for alarm existed in football until Ohio State broke through and made it relevant on an athletic level. Just from an athletic, from a pure sexiness level, Ohio State broke through in football.
Because Urban brought it from?
Urban brought it from
LSU.
The SEC.
South,
well, no, actually, he brought it from Utah, but that's okay.
Okay.
You go ahead and say how you want to say it. No, Urban.
Florida. I'm sorry, Florida. Right?
Actually, Urban got it at Bowling Green. But that was Urban. Urban always walked different anyway. A two-sport athlete, drafted by the Atlanta Braves as an infielder, infielder/outfielder. I mean, Urban is a different kind of dude. But when it comes to the talent, like the coaches coach to their style. So Strick is coaching a team. He's coaching them based on Strick's philosophy for how he played the game. You're going to coach to your liking. In the Big Ten, for the people who hire in the Big Ten, they hire a certain type of personality. Those personalities then translate to the game, and then that game shows up. And it's a like crowd. But I don't think anybody puts Ohio State in the Midwest crowd. You think Ann Arbor, but really you're thinking Detroit. Maryland, you're thinking D.C. For all the athletes in Maryland, you think D.C. You don't think, right? Pennsylvania, you think Iron, or you don't think Midwest. So the people who make those decisions then create and craft the culture. The Big Ten, when it comes to basketball, now you're not getting players who played in the NBA who played an up-and-down game as coach. You finally got Juwan, and Juwan will either make it work and change it, or he will be held as an example for what folks do not want it to be. Now, I know folks in Lincoln would be really happy if the level of talent in Ann Arbor right now currently ended up in Lincoln. Right? Different level of athleticism, different level of recruiting, different level of talent. But The game itself is based on the people who coach it and the people who craft it. So the Big Ten, when they go into these tournaments where folks can target one elite athlete on each team and take him out, or at least make it difficult for him, then it requires a second and third player to step up and become the guy. Now, we saw that here at Nebraska when the number one guy went down, or the number two guy went down, where teams in the Big Ten struggled against Nebraska was because they had not scouted Keisei. And it's really hard to scout Keisei, even when you know what Keisei does. Like, he's a unique physical talent.
So, dang, this is deep. We got to get that station, man. We could have went in. Let's get that real quick. That was good.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
So sorry, but my goodness, go in. Keep going.
So Keisei, because he's a unique scoring talent, teams in the Big Ten don't defend to unique talents because it breaks down their team concepts defensively.
Right.
So when you have a player that actually hits the mid-range jumper like Keisei, it becomes a problem. They know how to defend pick and roll because they've all defended it, and it's a concept that Big Ten coaches are familiar with. But when you get a unique talent, it breaks it down. All of these teams that Big Ten teams can't scout in advance and in full and have 3 years worth of tape on a system in play, right? The coaches are being out-coached. That's what's happening in the tournament. That coaches are getting used to, you know what? If I have better athletes than you, I'm going to speed the game up. If I don't have better athletes than you, I'm going to slow the game down. It's pretty simple. And your ability to adjust to that, Big Ten coaches don't want to adjust. They don't want to adjust to that.
Because I just don't understand how Painter, for the last 3 years, loses to a 13, a 15, and a 16 with the squads that he's had, and it's really been an out coaching thing. It isn't anything. These guys are just they're better than them or more athletic or talented. They've just been out coached, and they've pressed them in the areas of their weakness, which has been in their guard play.
Nebraska was a referee fart from beating Purdue.
Yeah, twice.
Right, like
Couple times.
right. So it's like, look, it's not about talent. It's about your ability to adjust in game, and then take away something that somebody else does. Now, I said when we walked into game one with Purdue, look, I'm gonna let big man get his, but I'm gonna force everybody else to shoot off spots that they don't want to shoot off of. That's real simple, right?
Yeah.
They were in the game and had a chance to win the game if the referees don't snatch. Game two, same things. Then they got loose on shooter number two. They did a good job on shooter one. Shooter two, you got loose on. And he got loose and created a problem. For Purdue, it's a style of play. You're not hearing about 4 deep recruits at Purdue. It's a guy, it's a big and a shooter. And then when Purdue's really good, they get a second shooter or / scorer, a breakdown guy, end of shot guy who can do mid-range work or who can get put back buckets. That's Purdue, but that's the scouting. If you look at Purdue on film, that's the scouting.
It's a shooter, it's a big, and then just some guys.
Well, the other guys are guys that, one, complement your big and your shooter, right? So as an off guard, like Strick will tell you, if he's playing with a shooter, Strick knows that he needs to penetrate at his shooter's defender so that there's extra space required. He eats that up. Strick dishes to him. He's got an extra step to bang the jumper in freedom.
Right.
He becomes a better shooter.
Right.
Strick's numbers get better. And then what happens is this. When Strick, as a facilitator, decides, I've got a shooter on the wing and a big in the post, if Strick intrudes into their defensive space,
straight line, off the shoulder, not at no angle to the
not at an
elbow.
angle to draw.
Right.
What I want to do is rub off my defender and then
Right.
rub my defender into the defensive space of the big and or the shooter.
Facts.
Why? Because then every offense around the country becomes a triangle offense with a backside shooter and a top of the key
Facts.
scorer that can take the kick and then drive to a big that's already occupied. Purdue doesn't adjust from that.
Yeah.
They haven't had to, because how many schools have an elite 7-footer?
Not many.
Not many. So everybody's adjusting Purdue. Purdue hasn't been forced to adjust. Nebraska are forced them to adjust by going small.
Mm-hmm.
They went small, and we call it pulling that big in the deep water. Look,
That's what happened to him.
Pull him out in deep water with Derek Walker and let him do this. More teams in the tournament are like Nebraska than they are
like Purdue,
Alabama. Right? There are more teams like Nebraska
Facts.
who have just a loosey-goosey dude who's too small. He can shoot the lights out. He can score in the mid-range, and he's a problem. Right? But Big Ten teams against each other, it's like that Spider-Man meme. It's a bunch of teams looking at each other like, oh, you look like me. You coach like me. You defend like me. You scheme like me. And then you get out against this there's some coach out there, right? Sitting out there lurking, right? This is his come-up. This is his come-up. He's waiting. Look, he will concede things he'll concede things in the regular season. Because if he thinks he can win the conference and can get a giant, you see the flood of all these coaches who are moving up the scale now, up the pay scale. You know how they got there? By beating Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
They're all lurking up. They go, wait a minute. This dude ain't going to change the play. He doesn't respect me enough to change how he plays the game, and his players aren't going to change enough to adjust. So I'm going to make them do stuff they don't want to do. And that's what happens in the tournament. But that's why you'll find out Tom Izzo is the one gangster in the Big Ten who really feels like, you know what? I'm willing to set my dogs free in March. Everybody else puts them on a leash and ties them back. Do less, better. Except Tom Izzo is like, all right, boys, I've been holding y'all free. Go, let's go. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to let you defend with the extra hand, right? They've been practicing, you know what? Chest to back, they're going to slide. They're not going to get that hand. You're not going to get those extra fouls. Michigan State will get the extra foul in March because they're getting 3 more steals in March.
Mm-hmm.
And they're willing to make that trade. They say, you know what? Normally they'll say, scouting report. All right, Strick will dig, but he won't scrape, right? He'll dig.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay. I know to stay above Strick. Until Strick reads that scouting report, Strick's
going hard.
Strick's going to go hard at me, and he's going to take my passing name. Every time I go single hand, Strick's going to jump that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State does that better than everybody else in the Big Ten Conference.
That's why they're success.
Yeah.
Ellison, Illinois said it. Painter is really outcoached the last 3 seasons. Purdue will limp down the stretch, 7-5 in their last 12 games. Once the opposition, including the Big Ten, figure them out how to stop their offense, Painter has no answer. I think that's kind of what it comes down to. I think he's over, got talent, but doesn't really know how to really coach it up. But Old School's going to take over right after us. Anything you guys are going to be discussing today? Football?
We're going to laugh at everything today. I'm taking nothing seriously on Old School today.
Love it. Love it. That's what's going to be good about Old School today. Stay tuned. You're going to be laughing a little bit with DP and the crew. We'll be back tomorrow. Peace. We're out.
Guys, when I first started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, I weighed